I hope everyone is here. Um, and can you guys hear me properly with the screen as well? Because I'm sharing my screen because we'll be doing the audit report question today as we have started the audit report topic yesterday. So we'll be starting off with a question today because we need to see how good are we with the concept of audit opinion. How can we apply it to the question itself? So before digging into details, please let me know if you guys can hear me very well and if you guys can see my screen too. Please answer me. All right, good, very good. Yes, this is. Oh yeah. So this is December. This is yes, yes, Saad. This is June 2015, question number 3. This is June 2015, question number 3. If you guys want to open it at your computer as well, so you can do that as well. Otherwise, you can just see my screen and it'll be all the way up. Yes. We'll be doing this. Yes, just this. Okay, great. So just to brush up with the knowledge that we have studied yesterday. So there were two types of audit opinion: qualified and unqualified, or we can use modified and unmodified audit opinion. Not only that, we also did the types of modified opinion, which was except for, which was adverse, which was disclaimer, and we also studied another for I cannot say type, but it was an optional thing for a qualified for an unqualified audit opinion, which was emphasis meta paragraph, which the auditor has the discretion to put it or not as per their discretion. I hope we are clear with the concept. If not, you guys can just let me know so that we can revise on the knowledge first, so that before going on to the question. Are you guys clear on those? All right, very well, good job. Okay, so we'll be starting off with June 2015 question number 3, which is the audit opinion question. But before that, can you guys all let me know what was the rule of thumb which we have discussed from the day one of attempting the question of audit? I want answer from every one of you. Good. What about you, Asan? Very right. Excellent. So I appreciate that you guys remember it. Okay, so the rule of thumb is that we have to read the requirement 3 times before digging into the scenario itself. Read the requirement 3 times. We are not concerned with the scenario at this point in time. We need to read the requirement 3 times because that is the biggest mistake with the student do is that they do not give full attention to the requirement of what exactly is asked. So let's dig into the requirement first. All right. So it says for each of the two issues. So we see there are two issues that we have highlighted. So for each of the two issues, discuss the issue, including the assessment of whether it is material. So we need to first discuss the issue, including an assessment of whether it is material, important, significant in nature or not. So when the question says discuss, that does not only mean that you have to only identify the issue from the scenario. You also have to explain why do you think this is an issue from an auditor perspective. So discuss the issue, including the assessment. So you need to give the assessment or the explanation or the description of whether this issue is material or significant in nature or not. So first is that. Second, recommend one procedure the audit team should undertake to try to resolve the issue. So what you need to do second is, once you have identified that this is the issue and the issue is material in nature, now from the auditor perspective you need to see that what you need to do so that that issue is resolved. So what you need to do to make the issue resolved, because as we discuss, the auditor does not go into the company to fight. They go into the company to resolve issues. And in case the issue does not stay resolved, now the auditor is in a position to take harsh steps or to take harsh decisions. So first you need to try to resolve it. If so, what third says, describe the impact. Now you are in a position to tell the impact or the consequences or the conclusion on what, on the audit report if the issue remain unresolved. So what it says is that if the issue remain unresolved, if the issue does not remain satisfied, what you need to do from the auditor perspective, that what would be the impact on the audit report itself. So the question gives us three requirements that we need to make. First, issue identification, assessment whether it is material or not. Second, recommending its procedure to resolve it to the maximum extent. If it does not get resolved, you need to see the impact on the audit report. So there are 3 points. So what we discussed, that if possible, if to the largest extent possible, the columnar format can be made, you need to make the columnar format. So I see from this scenario, from this requirement, that the columnar format can be easily made. Do you guys agree or not? Yes, exactly. Columnar format can be easily made. You can make three columns, one for the issue, one for the procedure, and one for the impact on the audit report. So you can easily make three column describing each of the three issues. So what else it says? The total marks will be split equally between each of the two issues. That means the two issues that are in the scenario, one is for Palm Industries and one is for Ash Trading and Co. So for each of the issue, and the audit report extracts are not required. That means they do not want any of the contents of the audit report and any of the details of the audit report, only what is asked. So once we have read the requirement 3 times, we need to go to the marks, because it does not explicitly says how much issues you need to identify. So what you need to do, 3 requirements, 10 marks, divide those 10 divided by 3, and you will almost get that you need to identify 3 issues, at least 3 issues, so that if one mark is given to each requirement, it will constitute. All right, so we have done the requirement. I want you guys to read the requirement first before getting into the scenario. So read it quickly. I'm giving you 1 minute. All right. So, have you guys read the requirement thoroughly? Good, very good. So now I'm giving you 5 more minutes, or maybe 6 more minutes, to read this entire scenario before we start the discussion. So read the requirement very critically, very thoroughly before we start the discussion, and I want you to be participated, because everything will be dealt by you guys. So read it very thoroughly, and I want answer from you guys. So I'm giving you 6 minutes because the scenario is too short. All right. So I hope you guys have read the requirement. So let's read the requirement with me, the scenario with me. Okay. So it says you are the audit manager of Chestnut and Co. So which is the company? Which is the audit firm? Chestnut and Co. You are the audit manager of Chestnut and Co. and are reviewing the key issues identified in the following 2 audit clients. So who are the 2 audit clients? One is Palm Industries Co. and second is Ash Trading Co. So there are 2 clients, Palm and Ash. And we are the audit manager of Chestnut Co. As mentioned earlier, you need to clearly identify which is the audit firm and which is the company, because the scenario actually confuses you with these things. So you need to clearly know which one is the audit firm and which one is the company. So now we have identified Chestnut & Co. is the audit firm and Palm Industries and Ash Trading Co. is the company. Okay, good. So let's dig into Palm Industries first. Palm year end was 31st March 2015, and the draft financial statement show revenue of $28.2 million, receivables of 5.6 million, and profit before tax of $4.8 million. The fieldwork stage for this audit has been completed. Okay, fine. So let's first complete the Palm Industries scenario. A customer of Palm owed an amount of 350,000 at the year end. Testing of receivable in April highlighted that no amount has been paid to Palm before this customer as they were disputing the quality of certain goods received from Palm. The finance director is confident that the issue will be resolved and no allowance for receivable was made with regard to the balance. So, what is the problem? There was a problem of $350,000 of customer. Testing of receivable, no amount has been owed, and the finance director thinks that the no allowance has been paid. So, what do you think? First, the issue is. I want answers from you too. Good, good, good. So the issue is that the customer of Palm owing 350,000 at the year end has not made any post year end payments as they are disputing the quality and no allowance for receivable has been made against the balance from the finance director. As the balance is being disputed, there is a risk of incorrect valuation as some of the receivable is overstated because it might not be paid. So the problem is that 350,000 might not be paid by the customer as they are asking for bad quality, disputing the bad quality. Hence, you cannot overstate your receivables, and the finance director is not even asking it to put any provision at all. So that is the issue. We have described it, and that issue is written all over here. Are we clear on the issue? It's very straightforward. Okay. So we have covered the first requirement, discuss the issue. Now we need to see whether this issue is material in nature or not. We need to see whether it is material in nature or not. Fine, let's see. How we will determine that it is material in nature or not? We have identified three formulas for materiality. First was 1% of revenue, 2% of total assets, and 10% of profit before tax. Anything above this figure will be material in nature. So let's see, do we have any figures relating to that? Do we have any revenue figure or profit before tax figure in the question? We can clearly see yes, we do have. We have revenue of $28.2 million. We have profit before tax of $4.8 million. So let's see whether this is material or not. So if we calculate the revenue figure, it comes to 1.2% because 350,000 is 1.2% of $28.2 million. Hence, the formula of us being anything above 1% of revenue is material in nature does fall correctly. So we can clearly assume that this is material in nature. Okay, for the question, you need to show the calculation as well. You need to calculate it that 1% of 28.2 million is what? And how much is $350,000 is? So $350,000 constitutes 1.2% of 28.2 million of revenue. Hence it is material in nature. Clearly. Any issue with the requirement first? So let's come to the recommendation. Can you guys list me any recommendation that we will be doing it to resolve this issue to a maximum extent? And that procedure will be conducted by the audit team. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you are partially right with regard to management discussion. You're partially right, yes. Okay, so the major procedure that we'll be using it, that we will be reviewing any payment which have been subsequently made by the customer since the audit was completed, so that we can exactly know whether the customer has actually paid out this 350,000 or not. If not, that means now there are very less chances that the customer will pay. Secondly, you can, as Saad mentioned, you can definitely discuss with the management about the quality issue that the customer is actually asking, whether that issue actually persists from the customer or from the factory, that you actually own that quality issue or not. You can discuss it with them, or you can review the correspondence with the customer so that you can get the idea that the customer is in a positive state or a negative state, that the customer is coming into a resolution or not. You can easily do that. Are we clear on the procedure? You can. Acha. So we have discussed three procedure. You have to only mention one. When the question specifically stays one procedure, it will only give you marks for that one procedure only, no matter you write hundreds of them. So do not waste time in writing more. Write only one, which is being asked by the examiner. All right, we have done that. What we need to do next is the impact. We need to see the impact on the audit report if this issue still remain unresolved. So what we need to do if the issue remain unresolved? Do you think we need to qualify or unqualify or change our audit report or audit opinion in any sort? Answer me. Very good. Since this issue is just for receivables, just for that 350,000, and nothing else is mentioned, that the financial statement otherwise is flawed, contains misstatement. So we are only referring to one particular item, which is receivables. So we need to see that if the issue still remain unresolved, if the management refuses to provide anything against this rebel, as the finance director was not giving any provision at all, the audit report will need to be modified, will definitely need to be modified. But as we discussed, we need to also mention which modification are we talking about. So we need to modify it with the except for, because only one item in question is problematic. Only one item in the question is problematic and nothing else. So we will be modifying the audit report if the issue still remain unresolved with an except for audit. Any issue with regard to palm industry, because there was only one issue in this circumstance. So we have discussed the issue, we have discussed whether it was material or not, we have discussed the procedure, and we have given the impact. Any issue at all. Excellent, good job. Let's dig into Ash Trading and Co. So Ash says that Ash is a new client of Chestnut and Co. and its year end was 31st January 2015, and the firm was only appointed auditor in February 2015. As the previous auditor was suddenly unable to undertake the audit, the fieldwork stage for this audit is currently ongoing. The inventory count and Ash warehouse was undertaken on 31st January and was overseen by the company's internal audit department. It was overseen by the company's internal audit department. Neither Chestnut nor the previous auditor attended the count. Detailed inventory records were maintained. So this is also very important. Neither auditor attended the count. Detailed inventory records were maintained, but it was not possible to undertake another full inventory count subsequent to the year end. Draft financial statements show profit before tax of 2.4, revenue of 10.1, and inventory of 510,000. So may I know what exactly is the issue, and whether do you think the issue is material or not? I want answers from everybody. Yes, very good. Very simple issue that the auditor, the Chestnut and Company, was only appointed subsequent to Ash year and hence did not attend the year inventory count. Therefore, they were not able to gather sufficient evidence. And as we mentioned, if we are not able to gather evidence, if we cannot prove anything, we cannot give any audit opinion on that particular thing. So in this case, the auditors were not available at the inventory count. So do you think this issue is material or not? The formula persists: 1% of revenue, 2% of profit before tax, and 10% of 10% of profit before tax and 2% of total assets. So we can see that this issue is definitely material because the inventory figure is 510,000, and if we see profit before tax, it will constitute to about 21.3%. 21.3% because this 510,000 is 21.3% of 2.4 million. Hence, it is definitely material in nature. Any issue with regard to the issue understanding or the material calculation? Okay, so I'll repeat the material calculation. So material was, so the issue under consideration is 510,000, whereas the formula is 10% of profit before tax. Let's calculate how much is 10% of 2.4 million. So 2.4 million into 10% is 240,000. Do you think this 510,000 is greater than 240,000? Of course it is. Hence it is material in nature. And how much material? It is 21.3% high. 21.3% of 2.4 million. Hence it is definitely a material figure because our benchmark was 10%. So what procedure which you need to do? Yes, Hassan, what procedure will we be conducting? Very good, very good. Since it was done by internal audit department, yes. So you will review the internal audit reports of the inventory count to identify the level of adjustments to the records to assess reasonableness, whether it was reasonable enough that they have adjusted it or not. Second, you will undertake a sample check of inventory in the warehouse and compare it to the inventory records. That will clearly show the reasonableness of the inventory records maintained by Ash. So you have to identify any one of the procedure. Either it can be a sample of inventory or reviewing of the internal audit report. You can do either of them. Are we clear on the procedure? So what if this issue does not become resolved or it stays as is? What you will be doing? Does this issue persist throughout the financial statement or does it relate to a particular item in the financial statement? What do you think? Yes, very good. So we are only talking about inventory in this case. We are not saying that the issue persists throughout the financial statement but the inventory. So since this is talking about a particular line item in the financial statement, hence we will be issuing an except for modification because the issue persists only to one particular item in the financial statement. If only this issue still remain unresolved, only then we will be issuing modification with an except for audit opinion. Any issue with regard to the issues, the procedures or the audit report? I think it was a very straightforward question. This was the basic question so that we can have a good knowledge of what we studied yesterday. Are we clear, everybody? Any question at all? Yes. Yeah. So if the question specifically state that you need to give one procedure, no matter you have 10 procedures in mind, you only have to write one procedure because of two reasons. One, the question specifically stated one. Second, the examiner will not give you any further marks beyond 1 because the question specifically required you to give 1. No matter you're so sharp, you can give 10 or hundreds of them, you only have to give 1 because you do not have to waste time or more because you won't be given any further marks. Yes, so one procedure it is. Yes. Yeah. If the issue, you see, if it says the issue unresolved, if the issue becomes resolved, if there is agreement between the management and the auditor, then you will not be modifying the report. You will only be unmodifying because the issue stands resolved now. It says the impact on the audit report if the issue remain unresolved. Only in that circumstances you need to give the modification. If the issue still remains unresolved, otherwise there is no need for modification at all. Are we clear on this? All right, great. So I'll be giving you a homework which is December 2016, question number 1. Yes. You need to attempt it and you need to discuss it with me so that we can do it together and but you need to write it first. You need to write it and submit the assignment to me so that I can see where exactly are you lacking. Are we clear? Any other issue? Very good. I'll see you guys. Take care.